Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well. So, first of all, I want to tell you that I am very much sorry because I could not go live. I thought to go live, but when I checked my YouTube, it says that it will take 24 hours. So, so I thought that I will then make video and I will then upload it. So maybe it cannot be go long, maybe it for 2 hour, but if I can go live I will make it long. So I have to make it in 2 or 3 parts. Maybe after this video there will be 2 or 3 more parts. Okay, so this is the first part, and there is a quick revision of all these Indian writers from very ancient. So I hope you will like it. It took long to make this PDF. So let's start with it, and after this video there will be more 2 or 3 videos where I will talk about the South Asian writers, the Dalit writers, because most of the time they are now asking from these writers. So there will be, I will also make a video, a short video about the Sahitya Academy winner writers. So let's start for today. So, Indian classic literature. So, I will first start from Indian classic literature, because in the last exam also they asked a question from Kalidas. You have to make the odd one out from the given option. So, I will start from Indian classic literature. So, Indian classic literature encompasses a vast and diverse body of works written in various classical languages of India, including Sanskrit, Tamil, Pali, Prakrit, and others. This literature, rich in cultural, religious, and philosophical themes, forms an integral part of our Indian's heritage. So let's know little about this Indian culture from which this literature came out, and I take these notes. I take this reference from IGNU also, and from Google, from Wikipedia, and from other sources also. Okay, so there is first is our Vedic literature. Vedic literature is the oldest layer of Indian classical literature, composed in Sanskrit, and it includes the Vedas, Rig Veda, Samveda, Yajurveda, Atharva Veda, which are the collection of hymns, chants, and rituals. Then the Brahmanas, prose texts that explain the hymns and rituals. Then Aranyakas, these are the forest book. Aranya mean forest, right? So forest books that provided spiritual interpretations of the rituals. Then Upanishads, philosophical texts that explore the nature of reality and the self. Then there are also epic, and you know which are these epics. First will be epic literature in India is represented by two major works, the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. Mahabharata, attributed to Vyasa, it is the longest epic poem in the world, detailing the Kurukshetra war and fates of Kaurava and Pandava prince. It is includes Bhagavad Gita and a philosophical and devotional dialogue. So you know about Mahabharata. Then the Ramayana, attributed to Valmiki, it narrates the life of Prince Rama, his exile, and the abduction of his wife Sita and Ravana, and her rescue. Then classical Sanskrit literature. Classical Sanskrit literature flourished after the Vedic period, and it includes Kalidasa, Kalidasa, known for his plays like Sakuntala and poems like Megduta and Raghuvansama. So, his most important texts are Sakuntala, poems like Megduta and Raghuvansa. Then Bhasa, he is also an earlier dramatist. So an earlier playwright whose work include Sapan, Sapna Bhasa Dattam. Then Aska Asbha Ghosha, sorry for my pronunciation, Asbha Ghosa, known for his epic Buddha Charita detailing the life of Buddha. Then Prakrit and Pali literature. So I already talked about Sanskrit literature, the important text of Sanskrit literature, and now Prakrit literature. And I will also go for Kalidasa, Bhasa, and other ancient writers. Okay, in later. Then Prakrit literature primarily pertain to Jain and Buddhist traditions. Jain literature written in Prakrit language like Ardha Magadhi and Saurasani. Notable texts include agamas and works by authors like Kunda and Umaswati. So I here just want to give you a bird eyes view so that you can understand that how this literature developed, how what were our classical texts, so that you have some knowledge about this. Okay, then I will talk about the important text also. Then Buddhist literature written in Pali including Tripitaka means three baskets, the Sutta Pitaka, then Vinaya Pitaka and Abhidhamma Pitaka. So there are Tripitaka. In history also we wrote about this, we read about this, right? The Tripitaka. So Sutta, Vinaya and Abhidhamma. Then Tamil literature, classic Tamil literature represented by Sangham literature comprising secular poems of love and war. Notable collections include Ittu Tokai mean 8 anthologies and Puttu Patu mean 10 idols. Then Tirukural, it is a didactic work by Valuvar, providing ethical guidance on various aspects of life. So these you should know little about this, only the writer and their work. Okay. Then Dravidian literature. Besides Tamil, other Dravidian languages like Kannada, Telugu, Malayalam have rich literary traditions. First is Kannada literature like Pampas Adi Purana, Vikramarjuna's Vijaya are significant. Then Telugu literature, Nayana, Tikkana, Yarapagadas, Mahabharatam are notable. So, as if you noted that most of these writings, these texts are involved in these two epics like Mahabharata and Ramayana, and there are other texts also, but more these storyline, they take their references from these two epics only. So Malayalam literature, Charusari's Krishna Gupta is a prominent work. Then I add some points from IGNU. First is Kalidas Abhiggana Sakuntala, translated by Chandra Rajan, called Kalidasa, the loom of time. So this is an important notation. Okay, important information. So Kalidasa's Abhiggana Sakuntala, it was translated by whom? It was translated by Chandra Rajan, and he called the loom of time. He called Kalidasa the loom of time. So this question can be asked. Then this question is always asked, that match the following. Natyasastra is written by whom? Natyasastra is written by Bharatamuni. So there is a paragraph where I talked about this Natyasastra. There is some facts about Natyasastra. So you should know that Natyasastra was written by Bharatamuni. Then let's know about Natyasastra in details, because some of, when I cleared the exam, net exam, there are some questions like Lokik, what is Lokik, what is Alokik, and there also they can ask you the questions that please write, please correct, please choose the right options of the divisions of natya, the divisions of natok, right? So you should know this, and they will give you the Hindi or Sanskrit word. Okay, so you should know this well. They will not give you the English, though in my time they gave us the English term also, but you should know the Hindi term, because you don't know that what they will do. Then rasa. So rasa, or the aesthetic sentiment, is an important aspect of Sanskrit drama. Can be best defined as the audience redefined emotional response evoked by the play. Rasa is broadly composed by uh, Vibha, Vibhava and Anubhava and Bhavicharya and Satyabhava. So which are different types of emotional responses to a work of art. So here you should know that rasa, or the aesthetic sentiment, is an important aspect of Sanskrit drama, and the types of emotional response of a artwork, which are the Vibhaya, Anubhaya, Babicharya Bhava and Satya Bhava. Okay, then the next point about Natya Sastra. Natya Sastra also elucidates the different types of plays. The major type is named as Rupaka, or the minor type named as Uparupaka. Rupaka consists of 10 varieties, of which the Nataka are plays based on myths and heroic tales. So Rupaka consists of 10 varieties, of which Nataka means plays based on myths and heroic tales. Then Prakarana. So they can ask you this type of question, that you have to match the following. They can give you the Sanskrit term, and you have to match it with their definition. Okay. So, Nataka means based on myths and heroic tales. Prakarana are based on the fictitious stories, and where less important characters are dominant. Sanskrit drama's idealized plot structure consists of 5 transitions that lead to final culmination of the events depicted. The first is origin. Origin means the start, mukha. Then origin mean, I think, also the source. So origin, mukha. So Sanskrit drama idealized plot structure. In our English plot structure, you know that how the climax and denouement it's taken place, and in Sanskrit drama or Indian drama also there are some plot structure, right? And these 5 transitions that lead the final culmination of the events depicted. And first is origin or mukha, which states the seeds or beginning of the plot. So which states the seed and the beginning of the plot. Then the second is the incident, mean pratimukha, which develops the plot line further by showing both good and bad events. So Pratimukha mean plot line further showing both good or bad. Then third is germ. Germ mean garbha. Garbha, where good actions or events seems to lead towards the aim. Aim is phala. Aims you know that phala mean fruits or aim. Phala. Then fourth is crisis. Crisis mean vimarsa, where bad actions even seem to outweigh the good and strays away from the aim. The fifth is completion, mean nirvana. So that brings together all different narratives in the play to definitive conclusion. So first is origin or mukha, then incident or pratimukha, then jam or garbha, then aim or phala, then crisis or vimarsa, and at the last completion mean nirvana. Okay, then the next point, the stock character encountered here such as Sutradhar. So the stock characters encountered it is called Sutradhar, mean director. Nayak mean hero. Nayaki mean heroine. And Vidusaka mean gesture. Speak either in Sanskrit or Prakrit. Okay. Then Sanskrit drama is defined by the works of dramatists as Sudraka, Bhasa, Bhaguti, then Harsha and Kalidasa. So these are the important playwrights of important ancient playwrights. So let's know one by one. Then first is our Bhasa. Okay, here I take this picture. I don't know. Where when I type Bhasa, I got this picture. Okay, Bhasa. Bhasa, he was born in third to third CE and died in fourth CE. Okay, so he was a Sanskrit playwright preceding Kalidasa, believed to have lived in the city of Ujjayan, relatively unknown to Sanskrit scholar except through references in other dramatic works. Okay, so he is unknown, but he is known through the references of other writers. Bhasa's work saw the light of the day in 1909 when the play Sapna Bhasadatta, mean vision of Bhasadatta, was discovered by Pandit Andhra Anandalvar of the Archaeological Survey of Mysore. In 1913, a total of 13 plays were discovered in an old library of Trivandrum by T. Ganaspati Sastri. So these are the some points you can make note, because you don't know, they can ask question from these also. Okay, then Bhasa drew his inspiration from epics such as Mahabharata, Ramayana, and Purana, semi historical legends and figures. Sapna Bhasadatta is his most famous play that depicts the story of King Udayana, who, who must choose between marrying for his love beloved Bhasadatta and daughter of neighboring king. So he have to choose between his love and his duty. Princess Padmavati for political gain. So her love is Bhasadatta, his love is Bhasadatta, and he have to marry Padmavati for political gain. In the play, Bhasa combines romance with political intrigue, creating a new kind of drama. Along with traditional dramas, Bhasa also wrote short plays, one-act plays, and monologues. Among them, many dramatic conventions that Bhasa broke was depicting tragic ending in his plays. Both Urubhanga, Breaking the Thigh, then Karnavara, Karna's Task, which deal with the stories of Duryodhana and Karna, respectively, end on tragic notes. So these are Bhasa's work, which is Sapna Bhasadatta, then Urubhanga and Karnavara. Okay. Then next is Sudraka. Sudraka's Mrichatika. So it was also already in the syllabus of Bihar set, and I saw the summary of these drama, and it is really beautiful. You can watch it also. Okay, Sudraka. But now just know this summary a little. So Sudraka, literally translated as the little servant, was a poet king who lived in Ujjain in the second CE. He is well known for his Prakanda plays Mircha Chatika, okay, mean the little clay cart. which is an extended version of Bhasa's incomplete play Charudattam or Charudatta. The 10-act play tells the love story of Brahmin merchant Charudatta and a courtesan Basanta Sena. So Basanta Sena is a prostitute and Charudatta is a honest man, honest Brahmin, and this story is about their love story, love. Though Charudatta was already married with a woman, and he also have a son. So this story and the title of the play is the little clay card, which is a toy, of Charudatta's son. And Basanta Sena um, gave his son a toy of made of gold. So this story is like that. So the here it you can see the love between Charudatta and the courtesan Vasantasena, whose union is thwarted by jealous suitor. Even with a few serious elements, the play ends happily and is primarily seen as a mix of romance and humor. It also offers an interesting and realistic picture of urban society, complex social structure of that time. His other plays include Bhina Vasadatta, then and Bhana. So other writings are Bhina Vasadatta and then Bhana, which is a short one-act monologue, and other is Padma Pravrittaka. Okay, so this story is about Charudatta and Vasanta Sena. Okay, then our next playwright is Bhagabhuti. So Bhagabhuti, he was a major dramatist of the later Sanskrit dramatic period, was the court poet of King Jasovarman of Kanuj. In North India, 18 CE, he too wrote plays based on the Ramayana and Maha. He wrote plays which took references from Ramayana, such as Mahabhiracharita, mean exploits of great hero, which Babicharita mean, you know that it is the adultery or some kind of things like that, which depicts the early life of Rama, and Uttaram Charita, sorry, so which depicts the early life of Rama, and Uttaram Charita, the later history of Rama, which shows the final years of Rama's life was written in the Uttarakanda of the Ramayana. Both these plays consist of 7 acts written in the Nataka style. His third drama is Malati Madhava, and which is also a Prakarana play centered on the love story of Malati and the daughter of a minister, which is Madhavya, her beloved. Okay, so Malati and Madhava. So here Bhagavati's writings are Mahavicharita, then Uttara Charita, then Malati Madhavya. Okay, so you should write this name only. Okay, then our famous Kalidasa. So Kalidasa, as all you know, that he is very much famous, and one of the best known Sanskrit dramatists in the world, whose work has been adapted and translated into numerous languages and forms. So he don't need any introduction, right? His works include notable plays like Malavikagnimitram, mean pertaining Malavika and Agnimitra, then Vikrama Bhasyam, pertaining Vikrama and Urvasi. So please note down this name, because most of the time Kalidasa now asked in many exams, and mostly in UGC also. Then he wrote epic poems such as Raghuvangsam, Dynasty of Raghu, then Kumara Sambhava mean birth of Kumara, and Ubrahmanya. Then Khandakavas is his minor poems. However, his most popular and famous work retains the Abhigyana Sakuntalam, the recognition of Sakuntala. And all of you know the story of Sakuntala, right? We will not discuss the detail now. So that's all from Kalidasa, because I did not take much from this Ignu text, and his other text also Megduta. So please note down. I will again say that um, Malavik Malavikagnitram, then Vikramabhangsyam, then Raghubangsyam, Khandabhyas, Megduta, then our Abhigyana Saguntalam. Okay, then. So there are some more points from Natya Sastra, and I add it here. So Bharata's Natya Sastra, because I saw many questions from Natya Sastra, so I thought that maybe they can ask this type of questions also. So Natya Sastra, the poetic drama, is a treatise on the dramatic art that attempts to outline the aim, purpose, role of drama in ancient India. So what is the purpose of Natya Sastra? It outline the aim, purpose and role of drama in ancient India. The treatise includes specific features and elements considered integral to Sanskrit drama. Natya carries the root word nat, which means to act or emote. It may be applied to both drama and dance, as Natya is also the word for dancing and dramatic representation, and Natak denotes a play. Natya Sastra is the oldest text on the theory of drama that has survived for centuries. Bharata termed it the fifth Veda. Okay, so Bharata provides us with a list of rasas. These are first is erotic means singer. Okay, in Hindi you know that what is singer. Okay, so erotic means singer. Then comic you know hasya. Furious is rudra. Pathetic is karuna, and heroic is veer. Then marvelous adbhut. Then the odious mean bivitsa, then terrible, bhayank. All of these have the specific, okay, so specific emotions, right? Among these, there are the sorry, they just if I try to copy paste it, and they just made this type of typo. Okay, so these are the emotions. First is erotic means singer, hasya mean comic, pathetic karuna, veer mean heroic, marvelous adbhut, odious the mean bibhatsa, and bhayank means terrible. Okay, then so this is the end of the classical literature. I try to give you some important text, and there are some important um, information. Okay, so now I will start from the English in India, I mean how English came in our India. So it is also related with our higher education unit, and you can read it from higher education. So I try to give some information, some specific information. So introduction of English in India. The introduction of English in India is closely linked to the history of British colonialism, which began in the 17th century. The journey of the English language in India can be divided into several phases, and even contributing to its eventual establishment as significant medium of communication and education. So let's know more, something about that how English came in our India, so that when they asked in your exam about this type of question, because now these days they also asked that how English came in our India, and you should know this. Okay, so first is early context and the East India Company. So you should know that India, English came in our India through this East India Company. Okay, so early 17th century, the British East India Company established trading posts in India, marking the beginning of formal British contact. Initially, English was used primarily for trade and administration within the company. Okay, then education and missionary. So first it came to do business or trade in our India. Then what happened? Then education and missionaries came. They tried to convert us into English, into Christian, right? During this period, British missionaries began establishing schools where English was taught alongside local languages. These efforts were sporadic but laid the groundwork of English education in India. Then colonial expansion and administrative needs. In late 18th century, as the British East India Company expanded its territorial control and need for common administrative language grew, English became the official language administration of and the judiciary. Then Macaulay's minute, you should know about this because most of the time they ask this question, because Macaulay had an important role in spreading English in our India, right? A pivotal movement came with Thomas Babington Macaulay's Minute on the Indian education, and you should know and remember the publication date of Macaulay's Minute, which is 1835. Advocating for English as the medium of instruction, Macaulay argued that English education would create a class of Indians who were Indians in blood and color, but English in taste, in opinions, in morals, and in intellect. So you should know this quotation also, because they also ask this quotation from this quotation. So Macaulay believe and Macaulay try to make Indian as if they had in blood of Indian, and but color in English, taste in English, opinions and morals and intellectual like English. Then the filtration therapy also he used, right? Then education policies and institutions. Then Charter Act 1813. This act allocate the funds of the promotion of education in India, including the teaching of English. So this act allocated funds of the promotion of education in India, including teaching English. Then Wood's dispatch, it was 1854. So when you read the higher education unit, you should know this publication. You should know this date also, that when this act came. And if you want me to make a video about only specific about this, I will make it. So, okay, but now I am just giving you little information that how English came in our India. So known as Magna Carta of education in India. So please note down this, because in this little information also there are many things that you can get in your exam. Like this question are asked many times, that what is the Magna Carta of English education in India. So in second paper also, mean our subject paper also, this question asked many times. So Wood's dispatch, which was 1854, is the Magna Carta of English education in India. It emphasized the establishment of universities in Calcutta, Bombay and Madras. So you know that these three universities were established, which is Calcutta, Bombay and Madras. So they can also ask that which are these universities. So you should know that Bombay, that Calcutta, Bombay and Madras. Okay, Then, with English as the medium of higher education, then universities and colleges are also made. By the 19th and 20th centuries, numerous colleges, universities were established with English as the primary language of instruction. Instructions like University of Calcutta, University of Bombay, and University of Madras played a crucial role. Then, post-independence era. 1947 independence. After India gained independence, English continued to be an important language for national and international communication. It was retained as an associate official language along with Hindi. Then three language formula, you know that three language formula. So the Indian education system adopted the three language formula, including English, Hindi, and regional languages. So to promote linguistic diversity while maintaining English as an language, then I try to give some important dates and events. From this information you can understand that how this in English came in our India, and this is very much important. So our first important date is, and I take it from MK Nayak. So our first important date is 1498. 1490 is the discovery of the sea route by Vasco da Gama. 1498. Please note down, because nowadays they ask question, statement type of question. They gave many questions and you have to pick the right one. Okay, the correct one. So 1498, the discovery of the sea route to India by Vasco da Gama. Then 1600, 13th December, the East India Company was formed and Queen Elizabeth signed the charter. Okay. Then 1698, the East India Company built Fort William around its factory. The three villages are around that came to known as Calcutta. 1757, the Sipahi Bidroho, the Battle of Palasi, the English won the battle that sealed the fate of the Mughal rule in India. Okay, okay, give me some minute. Sorry for the disturbance. Okay, so 1759, 1757, the Battle of Palasi, the English won the battle, and that sealed the fate of the Mughal rule in India. Then 1765, the East India Company secured the Diwani, right to collect revenue of Bengal, Bihar, and Odisha. Then 1781, Kolkata Madrasa was made. 1791, Banaras Sanskrit College was made. 1794, William Carey, an English missionary, started the first school of Bengal, where the medium of instruction was Bengali. Okay. Then 1797, Charles Grant persuaded English East India Company and the Parliament in England to impart English education to Indians. Then 1813, you know, the Charter Act renewal education made the responsibility of the East India Company, and missionaries allowed to go to India. 1826, William Bentinck arrived in India. So these are some important dates, and I can make a small video where I can took this higher education, and I can take one by one the date that how English came and how the education developed in our India. Education developed in our India. Okay. Then So I will start from the first. The first author in English, Deen Muhammad, published his memoirs The Travel of Deen Muhammad in 1794. The Travel of Deen Muhammad, a native of Patna in Bengal, through the several parts of India, right in the service of Honorable East India Company. So the first Indian author is Deen Muhammad. Okay, and he wrote the Travels of Deen Muhammad in 1794. Then our next author is Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Raja Ram Mohan Roy is very much important. You know that his contributions to our education, the Sati Protha, he tried to make rule against the Sati Protha. So Raja Rammohan Roy's essay A Defense of Hindu Theism, it was written in 1817, is the first original publication in expository prose in the history of Indian writing in English. So in 1828 he founded Brahmo Samaj. So note this down that he founded Brahmo Samaj, and he is the Orientalist, right? So he want English language as our educational language, right? And he supported, and he said that our language, our education is so much superstitious, and we should know the Western culture, we should follow the English language, we should follow the Western education, so that we also can be modern. So right, so he is the part of Orientalist. Then Bankim Chandra. So Bankim Chandra Chatterjee, he was born in 1834 to 1994. So which makes more difficult to make the whole PPT is I try to make it in chronological order, and it took lots of time because I should know their lifespan, and then I have to add them in chronological order. So please, if you like this video, please like it down, because if you see this video only, you can correct many questions in your exam, because most of the time we read these questions in fragmented way, and when they asked us in chronological order their publication or dates, we most of the time we did mistakes, right? I myself also did. So you should know it in chronological order. So Bankim Chandra Chatterjee, he was born in 1838 and died in 94. So you should know these their date and their when they born. Then he is the father of Bengali novel and author of the Rajmohan's wife. So it is the first novel, right? Rajmohan's wife. So there are many summaries video is available in YouTube. You can watch it, and this story is also beautiful. So this is the first novel of English, Rajmohan's wife. The first Indian novel in English, wrote several essays in English. Then Ramesh Chandra Datto. Ramesh Chandra Datto is a member of Indian Civil Service, is remembered for his first translation of Ramayana and Mahabharata. So I maybe add Ramesh Chandra Datto twice. So apology for this. So he is very much known for his vast translation of Ramayana and Mahabharata, and he wrote novels in Bengali which translated into English. Then which are the Lake of Psalms, sorry for the typo, Lake of Psalms, which was published in 1902. Then the Sea Girl of Agra, which was published in 1909. Then Rabindranath Tagore, you know about Rabindranath Tagore, and he is the Nobel laureate. He was born in 1816 and died in 1941. Rabindranath Tagore was an icon of Indian culture. He was a poet, writer, philosopher, musician, educationist, what's not, right? So Rabindranath Tagore became the first Asian to Nobel laureate won Nobel Prize in 1913 for his collection of poems, like collection of poems Gitanjali, right? And so Gitanjali, which is song offerings, and it was published in 1912. He was popularly called as Gurudev. Rabindranath Tagore wrote 8 novels and 4 novellas. Wrote his works are Chitra. Chitra is one act play, The Home and the World. It was written in 1916. Then, originally written as Ghore Bahire. So, what is the Bengali version? Ghore Bahire, and the English version is Home and the World. So, in many syllabus, these texts are given. Okay, then the home and the world is set at the background of the partition of 1947. Main characters are Nikhil, Bimola, his wife, and Sandeep. Nikhil lives happy life with his wife Bimola till the time his friend Sandeep appeared. Nikhil was definitely devoted to his wife, and he tried hard to educate her and enable her to discover herself not in the confinement of 4 walls of the house but in the big wide world outside. Nikhil's friend Sandeep is a revolutionist, and he easily attracts the innocent and unsuspecting Bimola, creating a love triangle as a whole. Although Nikhil figures out what is happening, he does not reveal this his wife to his wife. He is mature enough to do that, and thus grants Bimola freedom to grow and choose what she wants in her life. They had an arranged marriage and has a huge age difference between them. Meanwhile, Bimola experiences the emotions of love for the first time in a manner which helps her understand that it is indeed her husband Nikhil who really cares for her, who really loves her. Okay, so the love ends with Sandeep running away like a common thief after the communal seeds that had sown in the once peaceful community results in a bloody riot. Bimola loses both her home and the world as Nikhil almost dies trying to quell the riot. So, and there is also a recent movie in this plot, Ghore Bahire, in Bengali. So I watched this movie, and so there is a love triangle. As you see that Bimola and Nikhil, they are happily married, and there is a huge age difference between the Bimola and Nikhil. But when the problems started, when Sandeep, a revolutionist friend of Nikhil, a childhood friend of Nikhil, came, and he tried to attract Bimola, and Bimola also fell in love with him. And at the end, we see that for Bimola, there is nothing is there for her. There is no home, there is no outside, because Sandeep has run away, and you see that Nikhil is already dying for the riot, which was made by Sandeep. Okay. Then Sri Aurobindo. So nowadays they ask question from him, and in many exams like WB set, and there they ask this question. So Sri Aurobindo. Let's know about him. Sri Aurobindo, he was born in 15 August 1872 and died in December 1950. Was an Indian philosopher, yogi, Maharishi, poet, and Indian nationalist. He was also a journalist, editing newspapers such as Bande Mataram. He joined the Indian movement for independence, British colonial rule until 1910. Was one of the influential leaders, and then become a spiritual reformer, introducing his vision on human progress and spiritual evolution. His main literary works are The Life Divine, which deals with the philosophical aspect of integral yoga, Synthesis of Yoga, which deals with the principles and methods of integral work yoga, and Savitri. Savitri is his most important work, a legend of and symbol and epic poem, and also the Renaissance in India, which was published in 1920. The Foundations of Indian Culture. It was published in 1953. So he was a yogi. He was also in prison, and in prison he wrote many writings, and he is also associated with Maha. So I really liked when I read about his biography. I really liked his biography because he is a spiritual person. So his important works are The Life Divine, then The Synthesis of Yoga, then Savitri, most important work, The Legend and Symbol, an epic poem, then The Renaissance in India. So in when I sat for WB set, there is some question from Sri Aurobindo, some assessment reasoning question, and this question when I Google it, I could not get it, because these are so much deep down questions. So if this kind of question they ask, you cannot get right, because most of the time these Indian writers are not you cannot get in Google. Then B.S. Srinivasa Sastry, he was born in 1869 and died in 1946. So I took these kinds of writers also because sometimes they ask these writers, okay, which we are not known, we are not habituated with, okay. So a leader and of the moderates, he was known as the silver tongued orator of the empire. So let's know little about these writers also. He also wrote a number of biographies, including Life and Times of Feroza Mehta, which was published in 1945, and My Master Gokhale, which was published 1946. Then the next writer is Sri Radha Krishnan. So he was born in 1888 and died in 1975. He taught philosophy at leading universities in India and abroad, rose to be president of India. He was a prolific writer whose works include Indian philosophy in two volumes, 1923 to 1927, The Hindu View of Life, 1926, The Principle of Alphazats, which published in 1953. Then I also take some writers, so that if they ask chronological question, you can know that these are belong from this era. So Krishna Mohan Banerjee, I took this from M.K. Nayak, Ram Gopal Ghosh, Harish Chandra Mukherjee, Rajendra Lal Mitra, Girish Chandra Ghosh. Girish Chandra Ghosh, you should know the many writings of Girish Chandra Ghosh, and you can write it on the comment section if you know this. And Dada Bhai Naroji. Okay. Then our next writer is Derozio. Henry Louis Vivian Derozio, he was born in 1809 and died in 1831. He was an Indian poet and assistant headmaster of Hindu College, Kolkata. He was a radical thinker of his time and one of the first Indian educators to disseminate Western learning and science among the young men of Bengal. After his early death, his legacy lived on. So he died so much early, and long after his early death, his legacy lived on among his former students, who came to be known as young Bengals, and many of whom become prominent in social reform, law, and journalism. His poems are regarded as an important landmark in the history of patriotic poetry in India, especially to India, my native land. So his writings are To India, My Native Land, then The Fakir of Jahangira. It's important work. It is an important work. His poems were influenced by romantic poetry, especially Lord Byron and Robert Southey. Okay, so To India, My Native Land, The Fakir of Jahangira. So when I prepared for Bihar, said there is a in their syllabus there is a text from there is a poem by um, there is a poem by Dirozio, and the name of the poem is Poem. And when I searched it in Google, I never got it, so I searched it in YouTube. So I get this poem. Someone was reciting it, but it is not in Google. Okay, the name of the poem is Poem by Henry Dirozio. Then our most famous Michael Madhusudan Datta. Michael Madhusudan Datta, he was born in 1824 and died in 1873, was a Bengali poet and playwright. He is considered one of the pioneer of Bengali literature. His writings are King Poras, The Captive Lady, Ratul Potra, then Sarmistha, Bengali and English, Padmavati, একেই কি বলে সভ্যতা, দেন কৃষ্ণা কুমারী, বুড়ো শালিকের ঘাড়ে রন, দেন তিলোত্তমা সম্ভবা কাব্যা, মেঘনাদ বধ কাব্যা. It is most important in Bengali. It is most important. We read this poem. Then Brajang Brajagana Kavya, Virangana Kavya, Ratnavali, English translation. Then Nil Darpan, Chaturspadi Kobita Boli, Rijia, the Sultana of Indi, Rasola, Sornolatika, Bongobani, sonnets and others poems, and Bongo Bhumir Prati. So these are his writings, and you should know that he is the one who took the sonnet form in our Bengali, right? Then again I took Ramesh Chandra Datta, and let's know, because he is the brother of Taru Datta, so I took with her. Okay, so Ramesh Chandra Datta, he was born in 1848 and died in 1909. He was the civil servant and economic historian, translator of Ramayana and Mahabharata, and he was one of the prominent proponents of Indian economic nationalism. Then our Taru Datta. So as you know that he is also, sorry, she is called as the kids in our India, because she also died early, and she wrote many important writings, most famous writings. So Taridatta, she was born 1856 and died 77, maybe 21 years old when she was. Taridatta was one of the greatest writers of English literature. She was poet, novelist, translator, and what not. And she also knew French and many things. So though she died at very young of 21, she had left behind an immense collection of prose and poetry. Torodatta was born in 1856 in the prosperous and cultured Hindu family of the Dattas of Rambagan, Kolkata. Toru translated some sonnets of the Common and regarded him as one of the best modern French poets. So she also knew French, and she wrote many. She translated many poems from French. Okay, works are her poems include ancient ballads and other legends of Hindustan, Bhagmari, France, the lotus, the tree of life, our Carsian trees. Her last poems, A Mon Pere, is praised worldwide, is considered faultless. Okay, so there is also a poem which was asked in net many times, a sheep roaming around these kinds of a work, one work I will write it in the comment section. So now you see the lotus is beautiful poem. Then lotus, I in Bihar set also I wrote it that one lily and one rose and made it unite and made the lotus. The tree of life, our Casurina tree, and a Monpere. So these are his important writings. Then MK Gandhi, I also took him because most of the time his works also asked, you should know this. So Gandhi was a prolific writer, and his signature style was simple, precise, clear, and a devoid of artificialities. One of Gandhi's earliest publications, Hind Swaraj, published in Gujarati in 1909, became the intellectual blueprint of India's independence movement. The book was translated into English the next year with a copyright legend that read, "No rights reserved." For decades, Gandhi edited several newspapers, including Harijan in Gujarati, in Hindi and English language. Indian opinion, while South Africa and Young India in English, Navajivan Gujarati Monthly on his return to India. Later, Navajivan was also published in Hindi, and Gandhi also wrote almost every day to individual and newspaper. Okay. Now, Gandhi also wrote several books, including autobiography, The Story of My Experiments with Truth. So this is his autobiography. You should write down this, because they can ask. And which Gandhi bought the entire first edition to make sure it was reprinted. And his other autobiographies included Satyagraha in South Africa, also about his struggle there, Hind Swaraj and or Indian Home Rule, a political pamphlet, and a paraphrase in Gujarat of John Ruskin's Unto His Last. Then, and you should know that Emerson and Thoreau, they are influenced by Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, so which was early critic of political economy. This last essay can be considered his program of economics. Gandhi also wrote extensively vegetarianism, about vegetarianism, diet, health, religion, social reforms, etc. And Gandhi usually wrote in Gujarati, Hindi, English translations also there. So, and he also wrote songs from prison while present in Yarayada in jail, Maharashtra. Then, so there is nothing another about Mahatma Gandhi. So let's see, our next writer is Sarojini Naidu, and she is also called as the Nightingale of our India, right? So Sarojini Naidu, she was born in 1879 and died in 1947 after 2 years of independence. She was an Indian political activist, poet who served the first governor of United Provinces. After India's independence, she played an important role in Indian independence movement against the British Raj. She was the first Indian woman to be president of Indian National Congress and appointed governor of state. So when we were in UG, we wrote main big question or 5 mark question about Sarojini Naidu, Madhusudan Datta, right? Because they are very much important writers. Then her important writings are The Lady of the Lake. It was written when she was age of 13. The poem contains 1300 lines. Then Gold of Threshold, it was published 1905, published in UK, consists of 40 poems. It is dedicated to Edmund Goose. The Bard of Time, Song of Life, Death and Spring, it was published in 1912. It consists of 46 poems, and it titles taken from Omar Khayyam. Then broken wing songs of love, death and spring, including the gift of India. It was published 1917. Then Muhammad Jinnah, an ambassador of unity. It was published 1916. The Feather of Dawn. It was published 1961. Published posthumously by Padmaja, and it consists 37 poems journey as a freedom fighter. So these are her writings. Then Jawaharlal Nehru also I took. Nehru was a prolific writer in English who wrote The Discovery of India, Glimpse of World History, and autobiographies. So you should know the autobiography of these important leaders of our country, right? So released in the United States as Toward Freedom, letters from a father to his daughter. So it is most important. All written in jail to Indira Gandhi. Letters comprises 30 letters written to his daughter Indira Nehru, Indira Priyadarsani Nehru, later Gandhi, who was 10 years old and studying at boarding school in Mussoorie. It is attempted to instruct her about natural history and world civilization, right? So you should know that Indira Gandhi was also in Santiniketan, and she was in the first batch of when Rabindranath Tagore established the Vishwa Bharati, right? Then our trio, first is Mulk Raj Anand, then R.K. Narayan, and then Raja Rao. So with this trio I will end this video. So let's see Mulk Raj Anand. Mulk Raj Anand, he was born in 1905 and died in 2004. Was an Indian writer in English recognized for his depiction of the lives of the poorer class in the traditional Indian society. One of the pioneers of Indo-Anglican fiction, he together with R.K. Narayan, Ahmad Ali, and Raja Rao was one of the first India-based writers in English to gain the international relationship. Mulkraj Anand is popularly known as an Indian novelist, short story writer, and art critic. As he used to write in English, he was among the first writer to render Punjabi and Hindustani idioms into English, called the Jola or Balzac of India. So he was called as Zola or Balzac of India. Anand drew a realistic and sympathetic portrait of the poor of the country. The author was also regarded as the founding fathers of the Indian English novel. Mulkraj Anand's stories depicted a realistic and sympathetic portrait of the poor in India. He spent World War II working as a scriptwriter of the BBC in London, where he became a friend of George Orwell. So you should know that he was a script writer for the BBC in London, and he was also a friend of George Orwell. He found a literary magazine called Works Untouchable, which was, please note down the publication date, okay? First Untouchable, published in 1935, then Coolie 1936, Two Leaves and a Bud, which published in 1937, The Village 1939, Across the Black Waters 1939, The Sword and the Sickle 1942, The Private Life of Indian Prince 1953, Untouchable 1935. So 1935 fast, okay. Fast, Untouchable, Coolie, Two Leaves and a Bud, The Village, Black Waters, The Sword and the Sickle, The Private Life of an Indian Prince. Now let's see about the work Untouchable. Untouchable, it was published in 1935. His friend E.M. Foster, whom he met while working on T.S. Eliot's magazine, wrote the introduction of the novel. Okay, his first novel. So you should they can ask the question that who wrote the introduction. So E.M. Foster wrote the introduction. So please. Okay. So, untouchable main criterion. Nobel, published in 1935, was a chilling expose of the day-to-life member of the Indian untouchable caste. It is the story of a single day in the life of Bhaka. So they can ask the main character, who is the main character? Bhaka is the main character, right? Sorry, Bhaka. So who is he? He is a toilet cleaner. A toilet cleaner who accidentally bumps into a member of higher caste. Bakha searches for comfort to the tragedy of the destiny into which he was born, talking first with a Christian missionary and then with a follower of Mahatma Gandhi. So he saw the caste discrimination, right? And he talking with first with a Christian missionary and then followed became the follower of Mahatma Gandhi. But by the end of the book, he includes that it is technology in the form of the newly introduced flush toilet. So he was a toilet cleaner, and at the end he saw that it is the technology who can give him the salvation, as I can say. Okay, so the introduce of flush toilet, that will be his savior. While the toilet may be derived him and his family of the traditional livelihood they have had for centuries, it also liberate them in the end by eliminating the need for a caste of toilet cleaners. Okay, then his next writing, which is Kuli was published in 1936. After Untouchable, Kuli came. Okay, Untouchable, Kuli. So here is the character is Muno is the protagonist of two leaves and a bird also. Okay, so one second. Okay, Tulips and the Bird, his next writing, which is published in 1937. The story is about Punjabi laborer, and Gangu is the protagonist of the novel. He is brutally exploited in the tea plantation and killed by British official who try to rape his daughter. This is mainly about the plight of the laborers in tea plantation in Assam. The tea gardens in Assam become the symbol of his slavery. The novel describes an exploitation peasant who is killed while trying to protect his daughter being raped by the British colonial. The tulips and the bird of the tea trees, the said serves are silent witnesses of the oppression and agony of the poor Punjabi laborer who present the oppressed class. So here you can see that a farmer, he tried to save his daughter and from being raped, and this is the story about the two leaves and a bird. The novel explores the plight and sufferings of the tea laborers. Reggie Hunt, so Reggie Hunt is the villain. So Reggie Hunt is the British official who attempts to rape Gangu's daughter and kill Gangu when he tries to save his daughter. Ac- when he tries to save his daughter. Okay, then before going to across the black water, maybe I forgot to add the story of Kuli. So Kuli is a beautiful story, and I like this story. So you should know this, you should know the summary, and you can get it from the YouTube. Okay, so Muno is the character from Kuli, and you should know the character name also. Okay, now see the Across the Black Water. Across the Black Water is an English novel by Indian writer Mulkraj Anand, first published in 1939. So Lalu is the protagonist. Mulkraj describes it the experience of Lalu, a sepoy in the Indian army. So here Lalu is the protagonist. So first he's writing Untouchable, and there Bhaka is the protagonist. Then Muno from Kuli. Then Gangu from Two Leaves and a Bud, and now Lalu from Across the Black Water. So he is a Sipai of Indian Army, fighting on behalf of Britain against the Germans in France during World War First and Second. It described the experience of Lalu, a sepoy in the Indian Army, fighting on behalf of Britain against in Germans and in France World War First. Okay, then our next writer R.K. Narayan. So there are many writings. Okay, so Rasipuram Krishna Swami Iyer Narayan Swami. So he is my favorite writer. Okay, so he was born in 1906 and died in 2001. Best known as R.K. Narayan, was an Indian writer novelist known for his work set in the fictional South Indian town Malgudi. He was a leading author of early Indian literature in English with Mulkraj Anand and Raja Rao. As I say, that they are the trio. So R.K. Narayan's writings career began with Swami and Friends. Okay, at first he could not get the novel published. Eventually, a mutual friend, Purna, sold the draft to Graham Greene. Greene linked it so much and he arranged for its publication. Greene was to remain a close friend and admirer of his. After that, he published a continuous stream of novels, all set in Malgudi. So these questions are also asked that his writings are set in. So his writings are set in Malgudi. Okay, imagining. Imagine place. Okay, each of it dealt with the different characters in the fictional place. Narayan's style is compared with William Faulkner. As you know that William Faulkner also used a imaginary place which is Agnakwata or something like that. Then he created the fictional town Malgudi. R.K. Narayan passed away in 13th May 2001. So see, he got many awards. He won National Prize of Sahitya Academy for his novel Guide, Indian Literary Academy for Guide in 1958. He was first Indian writer to win Sahitya Academy Award. He was honored at Padma Bhushan, Convented Indian Award, and for distinguished service to literature in 1964. In 1980, the Royal Society of Literature awarded the A.C. Benson and a medal to R.K. Narayan. So, his writings are fast. You should please concentrate here. Though you feel boring, but please concentrate because they ask this kind of question. The publication date. So you can remember it in with to make it as a story line. Okay, right. Swami and Friend, they are it published in 1935. So Swami and Friend, they are the Bachelor of Arts. Swami and Friend, they are the Bachelor of Arts 1937. So they went to a dark room 1938. Then they met to a English teacher 1945 whose name is Mr. Sampath, the printer of Malgudi 1948. He is the financial expert also 1952, and he is waiting for Mahatma 1955 so that Mahatma can guide him 1958 because he is afraid from the man-eater of Malgudi, which was published in 1961. The vendor of sweets, then they meet the vendor of sweets, which was published in 1967. The painter of science also, which was 1977. And then suddenly they met with the tiger of Malgudi, published in 1983. And also with a talkative man, which is published in 1987. The world of Nagraj, they went to the world of Nagraj to tell the grandmother's tale 1992. And my days, they end with their days. Okay, so let's revise again. First, Swami and friends, they are the Bachelor of Arts. They went to a dark room and meet the English teacher. What is his name? His name is Mr. Sampat. He is the printer of Malgudi. So he is also a financial expert, and he is now waiting for Mahatma Gandhi to guide to